Today we're going to be starting 2.2, adding and subtracting decimals. Number 1 says to find the sum or the difference. The main thing, there's actually two things that I want you to remember. Always use 0 as a placeholder, and then secondly, we want to always make sure that we line up our decimal points, okay? So the first one, problem A, says 6.047 plus 13.46. We're going to go ahead and rewrite that first number. And the main thing I want you to remember as you're rewriting this, we're going to write 1 on top and the other number will go underneath it. You have to line up your decimal points. So before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and put my decimal point there first. Now I know in this problem right here, the 13 goes to the left of the decimal point. So I'm going to line up my numbers. The 3 needs to go directly underneath the 6, which is in the 1's place. Now I've got to put in the 4 and the 6. Do I need any placeholders on this one? Yes. How many? 1. I just need one placeholder to go directly underneath the 7. Now you're going to go back, double check. Right here you can see I am adding it together, so you want to go ahead and put a plus sign there. Let's do this together. 7 plus 0? 7. 4 plus 6? 10. 0 on bottom, 1 on top. What's the next one? 5. Bring down the decimal point directly underneath. 6 plus 3? 9. And then the last one, bring down the 1. What's my answer? 19. Okay, as long as you line up the decimal points and you put the zeros as a placeholder, this should not be difficult. But those are the two places that people can tend to mess up, okay? Let's go over to problem B. 14 minus 8.42. The 14 doesn't actually have a decimal point, but can you tell me where it's at? Where's it at? It's after the 14, okay? So we're going to put 14, and then I'll put that decimal point. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and line up my decimal points. And then I know the 42 comes to the right. So how many placeholders is this number going to need? 2. 2 of them. I need one in the tenths and one in the hundredths place, okay? Once again, go back through and check. This is going to be a subtraction problem. I'm trying to find the difference between these two numbers. Who wants to do this for me? All right, go ahead, Alex.
Put a 1 in front of the 0. Take away from that, make that a minus, put a 1 in front of the other 0. And it's 8, 5, bring down the decimal.
Okay, what's your answer?
5.58.
Okay, 5.58, or you can read it 5 58 hundredths. Okay, let's do one more example just like this. We're going to be subtracting again. Katie, do it for me. Tell me what to do.
Okay, so you're going to put a 9, and then you're going to put your decimal point, and then you're going to add 2 zeros to hold place. Then you're going to put the 5 under the 9, and then your decimal point, and then the 2, 8. And then you're going to take 0, you're going to turn it into 10.
Okay, I can't turn it into a 10 until I borrow. So who do I borrow it from? Can I borrow from a 0? So what number do I borrow it from?
10.
Not the 10.
9.
Borrow from the 9, so that turns the 9 into a what?
Turns the 9 into an 8.
Good job. Keep going.
And then the next 0 is going to be a 9. And then the last 0 is going to be 10.
Good job. 10 minus 8.
2.
9 minus 2.
7, and then it's 3. So, and then you've got to put your decimal point.
Good job. Thank you for remembering about the placeholders and about the decimal points. Any questions on how to add and subtract decimals? All right, no questions other than that. So here we go. Next up, number 2. Evaluate the expression when r equals 2.14 and t equals 5.2. When we're doing problems like this is very similar to some things that we did in chapter 1 where we were plugging in things for the variables, okay? So right now it says 20.1 plus r. Instead of putting an r there, what am I going to put instead? Okay, 2.14, because it tells me right here that R equals 2.14. So instead, I'm going to put plus and 2.14. Now my problem looks exactly like it did for our first examples that we just did a minute ago. So here's what you got to do first. Line up your decimal points. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite each of them. 20.1 plus, put your decimal point, 2.14. How many placeholders do I need?
One.
I just need one. Okay, Isabel, do it for me.
4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then bring down your decimal. And 0 plus 2 is 2. And then 2.
Excellent. What's our answer?
2.24.
Very good. Okay, so let's go on to problem B. Once again, we are plugging these things in. So instead of it saying 6.7 plus R minus T, remember our whole goal in math right now is to get rid of the letters. We don't want letters anymore. Michael, help me out. What should I do?
You should say 6.7 plus 2.14 minus 5.2.
Excellent. Okay, so when I have something like this, as you can see, I've got to plus something and I have to minus something. We're only going to take one step at a time. So we'll do the first one right here. 6.7 plus 2.14. Once again, you're going to show your work exactly like you did before and line up those decimal points. Michael, will you keep going for us?
So you put first piece with a 0. 0 plus 4 equals 4. 7 plus 1 equals 8. Bring down the decimal. 6 plus 2 equals 8, and the answer is 8.84, but you still got to minus it from 5.2.
Okay, very good job. Here, remember, there's still one more step where I've got to subtract 5.2. Who wants to do that part for me? Landon, go ahead.
So your answer was 8.84, and you're gonna take 5.2 and subtract it from 9.
Okay,
And put a 0.
good job. We need one placeholder. Go ahead and subtract it for me.
So it'll be 3.64.
You are correct. Any questions for Landon on that one? We're going to go on to number 3. This is actually very similar to number 2. So write this down. What is the value of the expression 16.5 plus 8.6 minus 2.21? So we're going to go ahead and start off first with the first part of this. So we're going to do these two numbers right here. 16.5, I've got to line up the decimal points, 8 and 6. Shakari, go ahead and do this part for me.
5 plus 6 equals 11. Bring the 1 to the 6. And bring the 1 to the 1. And 1 plus 1 equals 2.
So what's my answer?
25.1.
Good job. Remember, just bring that decimal point straight down, okay? Am I finished? No. So I should not be boxing that answer in because I've still got one thing left to do. What do I have to do, guys?
Subtract 2.
Subtract 2.21. Carlos, do it for me. Is this correct right now? No, what's wrong with it?
Because the decimals aren't up.
Okay, be careful. This right here is what a lot of people try to do, and then their decimal points don't line up. You've got to make sure that the tenths are underneath the tenths, the hundreds are underneath the hundreds, okay? So you said I need a placeholder. How many?
0.
Just one placeholder. Okay, go ahead and do it for me.
You borrow from 1 to 0. And add 1 to 0. And go to the 1. Put your decimal in. And it's 22.
Okay, what's the answer?
17.81.
Is that my final answer? Yes, that is correct, because can you go right back up there and you can see I did this part and I just did that part, okay? So you are correct. The answer is 22.89 or 22 89/100ths. Let's go to the last one. This is a little bit of a review from what we talked about yesterday. Order the numbers from least to greatest. If you remember from yesterday's lesson, there's some work that I want to see as you're doing this. You're relining up each of the numbers. So there's my 2.46. I'll go on to the next one, 4.2. Just rewrite each of the numbers in the original problem. As you look at those 5 numbers, does anything need a placeholder? Yes, how many of them? 2 of them, okay? So just go ahead and slip those placeholders in. Just remember, for your final thing when you're rewriting it, to write as it was in the original problem. So instead of writing 4.20, we would make sure it says 4.2, okay? Looking at those, let's go ahead and look at the ones place first. Here you can see I've got 2, 4, 4, 2, 4. Of those, which one is the smallest one? The 2's, okay? So I know right now I am dealing with either this one right here, 2.46, or 2.40, okay? I can't look at just the whole number. I've got to go now to the tenths place. 2.4, 2.4. Looking at the tenths place, can I tell which one is bigger? No. So now I've got to go to the hundreds place. 2.46 or 2.40. Which one's the smallest one? 2.40, okay? So I'm going to rewrite that down at the bottom. Is that what it said originally?
No.
No. Remember, this right here is for that one. So what should I say instead of 2.40? Just plain old 2.4, okay? I've used that up. Cross it out. What's the next tiniest one? 2.46. It's still going to be the one that starts with a 2 in the ones place, okay? So now I have crossed off, just with one tiny line, both of the ones that start with a 2. So let's go to the next 3 numbers. This one starts with a 4, a 4, and a 4. Judging by the ones place, do we know which one is the next one? No. So let's go on now to the tenths place. 2, 0, or 2. Which one, guys? 4.06. Is that what it said originally?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. Next up, I've left with 4.20, 4.26. What's the next smallest one? 4.2. Thank you for taking off the 0 for that one. And then finally, what's my biggest number? 4.26. What I would encourage you to do each time is go back through and just make sure that those are in order from least to greatest. So I can see 2.4, 2.46. I know those are right. 4.06, 4.2, and 4.26, okay? And that is in order from least to greatest. All right, so that's just a little bit of a review from yesterday's lesson, and that is pretty much it today for 2.2.